I was 17 years old when I started racing, so later than about everybody I met along the way. I was just a racing fan, so I watched racing on TV and everything like that. And then it was like junior year of high school when you meet with the counselors and they ask you to start thinking about what you want to do with your life and think about college and everything. Like all I cared about was racing, so I just was going to be a race car driver. You know, I'd never driven anything before. So I went to just Skip Barber Racing School, and I started racing in Northern California in the SCCA. My first race car was a 1968 Datsun 510. Had about 80 horsepower, and it would maybe go 90 miles an hour downhill with a tailwind. But it was a good first race car.
11 years old. Raced the cadet class, a go-kart with a steel steering wheel, Carlisle tire about this big, and just waited to get my up to 12 years old to be able to do my first race.
I was 10 years old and I raced a go-kart, a little small kids go-kart.
I started when I was 7 and a half racing go-karts in Reno, Nevada in a parking lot.
I started racing when I was 11 years old in go-karts, pretty much exactly like this, just a little bit smaller.
I started racing when I was 9, and I started out racing in the Bandolero series. I actually bought the second one they ever sold and ran the first race they ever ran in them, so I got started pretty early.
I was 8 years old and I raced in California in a class that was called Outlaw Karts, and then it's like 3-division karting class, races on dirt ovals, they have wings and cages on them.
I was 6 and I raced kid karts out at a little track in Eau Claire, Wisconsin.
Well, my dad built me my first go-kart when I was 3, and I used to just go around the parking lots like nonstop.
I was 12 when I actually first started driving in quarter midgets in California and Pomona Valley quarter midget track. A lot of good memories there, but yeah, I started late compared to kids nowadays. So.
Okay, I was 47 years old. Which was probably about a month ago, and the first thing I ever raced was that rental cart sitting right out there.
Popeye. Yeah, it was absolutely #1. And Spider-Man, but I like Popeye.
Oh, goodness. SpongeBob?
Oh, wow, that's a tough one. You can't really beat SpongeBob, I guess, but I was a Rocket Power kid. I always loved that show.
Bugs Bunny.
Wow, that's a good question. Like the Flintstones, Speed Racer. I wasn't much on TV, though. I wasn't much on cartoons. I was more into the garage and working on stuff and getting in trouble.
Oh, definitely Timon and Pumbaa. I grew up loving them. That was probably one of the things that actually got me up in the mornings was the fact that I could get up and watch Timon and Pumbaa before school. So I wish they still had cartoons like that on TV because they were awesome for sure.
Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo is great.
Scooby-Doo, definitely. Had to watch it every morning before school.
Tom and Jerry, just because it was mayhem all the time.
G.I. Joe's was one of my favorites. The Smurfs, love the Smurfs.
Well, I'm old, man, so it was Underdog. I don't know if you guys ever remember Underdog, but look up in the sky. It's a bird, it's a plane, it's Underdog!
My favorite car, DuckTales. Yeah, DuckTales for sure. That was a big part of my afternoon.
Karting Dreams with the little karters. I follow all of them on Twitter now, so.
I think the classic is Days of Thunder, right? So everybody in this town, everybody in the business can recite every line. But obviously the documentary they just did on Ayrton Senna was amazing, and I always loved Grand Prix and Le Mans just because they really captured a passion of really a pure passion of motorsports in the cinematic way.
Probably, I think Grand Prix or Big Wheel. It's old time, the Big Wheel is an old time movie from I think the 40s, so it had a lot of midget racing in it. It was pretty cool.
Days of Thunder.
Man, I must have watched Days of Thunder a million times before I moved to North Carolina just to see what it was like before I came and raced stock cars. So I'd have to say that's probably one of the best ones out there.
Got to go with Days of Thunder, of course. Ricky Bobby was pretty good, but being a little bit more on the realistic side, somewhat.
Probably Dale. Or, oh crap, what's that movie called? Days of Thunder.
I would say Talladega Nights, just because it was so funny. I really liked Will Ferrell in that. And it was filmed a lot in Charlotte, and we sold a lot of metal to some of the guys producing some of the things. And so that was probably and plus it was just a great movie.
Talladega Nights. I think that it's just, the accuracy is so spot on that, the director and everything, they just nailed it.
Definitely Talladega Nights. Yeah, it's hilarious. I think it's one of the best movies ever made. But not that it tells a true story or anything, but it's pretty damn close.